Hello and welcome to Nationwide. On a day the Americans elected Donald Trump, the 45th president. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. And back home in Nigeria, the federal government has approved the procurement of 38 four-wheel drive vehicles for Mines Inspectorate Department of the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development. This is in line with the new roadmap for the growth and development of the nation's mining sector as part of the economic diversification drive. Dr. Kayode Fayemi announced this approval of government at a news briefing after the Federal Executive Council meeting. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo completes the report.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the council meeting which approved that the mining inspection vehicles be procured locally. 326.7 million naira is to be expended on the project as part of efforts to further enhance the growth and development of the mining sector. Each of the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT will have one of the four-wheel drive vehicles each.
It speaks directly to the government's commitment to supporting made in Nigeria product. And it speaks directly also to our determination to really begin to focus a lot more seriously on the activities of informal or illegal miners. Only yesterday I was in Paikoro local government in Niger State, where 2 people died last week, just to also examine precisely what led to that and the activities of people who are just trying to eke out a living in these places, and the role that we should play in supporting artisanal and small-scale miners in order to fulfill Mr. President's job creation agenda and the revenue generation determination of government.
The Federal Executive Council also approved the ratification of the Lake Chad Water Charter, seeking to strengthen the cooperation between all the member countries of the Lake Chad Basin Commission.
The charter seeks to forge some kind of consensus on issues relating to environment, security, and the future of the lake itself. As you are aware, the lake has been threatened by climate change over the years. It has shrunk to less than 10% of its storage capacity 40 years, 50 years ago. And all efforts are being put in place to ensure that the lake is safe from extinction and to improve the security situation, which again, as we know, was partly the reason for the current restlessness and insurgency by youth in the northeast.
The Water Resources Minister also used the forum to defend the unprecedented efforts by the Buhari administration towards ensuring the revitalization of Lake Chad through interbasin water transfer, describing it as critical to the nation's security and economic well-being.
This interbasin transfer project, as of now, we think it is the best option. If we don't do something, this lake will dry up. And when it dries up, the future of millions of people will be affected. So no amount of money is too small to spend to bring peace and security to that region.
The meeting also provided the opportunity for members to reflect on the progress, challenges and prospects of the council, which clocks 1 year on Friday.
We're here to serve Nigerians. We're not yet to Uhuru. The challenges are still enormous. We read what you write, the feedback coming from the populace, and we know that we can't rest on our oars.
There will be no commemorative event to mark the first anniversary of the cabinet, but as the minister said, President Muhammadu Buhari's charge to them at the meeting was very instructive. Get on with the job, do your very best to serve the country and earn the trust of Nigerians. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Thanks, Adamu. No doubt, the much-awaited U.S. election has come and gone, but its outcome has offered much more to talk about. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria had, before the result was known, emphasized that whoever emerges president, America will still maintain her fundamental objectives. Aisha Uba Ali completes the report.
The 2016 American election attracted attention of the world, especially the bitterness and scandals that characterized the campaigns. Apart from the history of having 2 of the major parties nominating a female for the first time and a rocky politician defeating 16 other candidates to fly the flag of his party. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria say the position of America in world politics and economy will always interest the world.
Any candidate who was appealing to the sentiments of this 26% was appealing to the minority voters. He took his message to the 70%, and that's where it mattered. And that shows the way the results are trickling in. It shows that he probably had the right message for the larger segment.
The legacy of Obama would have remained, because he also campaigned on the fact that he did well for America. And in fairness to him, he did well for America. At the time he came, that was the time they had their recession, but he confronted it headlong.
The guest emphasized that with strong institutions in place, the United States will not compromise her fundamental objectives, whichever party or person is in charge.
Trump emerging as the president is really not about Donald Trump, what he's going to do, because like I said earlier, there are checks and balances that will make him abide by the Constitution, that, things that he can do against foreigners, against immigrants, against, like Africa, for instance, are limited.
Trump was not interested in policy as such. He was interested in sound bites. He ran that popular television program.
The guests were unanimous in suggesting that the world, and indeed Nigeria, have many things to learn from the American democratic process. In Abuja, Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
To other matters now, in its bid to ensure accountability, probity and transparency in government financial business, the Buhari administration has put up a presidential initiative on continuous audit. To drive home the objectives of the initiative, the Federal Ministry of Finance organized an interactive session with players in the sector. Kolo Mohammed reports.
Right from day one, President Muhammadu Buhari made it clear that it's not going to be business as usual as far as government finances are concerned. The presidential initiative on continuous audit is therefore introduced to, amongst others, keep close tabs on government spendings, plug leakages, and to ensure strict remittance of internally generated revenues by ministries, departments, and agencies.
You don't just roll out resources, you control utilization, and you audit, and you ensure transparency and accountability in application of these resources. And that is exactly the goal of PICA, and you can see the sensitization that is going on. Everybody is being brought on board, and people really key in. People are getting committed. There is a renewed hope, and there is change of attitude.
Much as Nigeria is undergoing changes in public financial management, experts say the quest for higher performance on transparency and accountability need relentless commitment if the nation's economy is to be stabilized within the shortest time. Participants at the interactive session say they are poised to key into the initiative.
And again, when I get back to my own establishment, NYSC, we have already started involving this mechanism. The mechanism of probity, the mechanism of transparency, the mechanism of integrity, and the mechanism of equity.
A question and answer session which rounded off the meeting provided participants with opportunity to probe further on the new order of doing government business in Nigeria. In Abuja, Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
And it will no longer be business as usual for establishments that refuse to follow due process in workers' salary adjustment. Chairman Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Services, Emmanuel Polka, stated this during an oversight function at the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission in Abuja. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday completes the report.
Take some allowances. You want to know, not those sketchy things you want to give.
After the arguments on wanting to know the exact amounts every worker takes home, especially with the issue of disparity in salaries among workers, which has been an issue of concern to the committee based on available information, the chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Polka, insists members must have the breakdown.
that through collective agreement...
Chairman of the Commission, Richard Egbule, tells the committee that the Commission remains focused on its mandate to achieve equitable, affordable and sustainable remuneration system.
We have just directed the Commission to submit details of salaries and wages of the different public establishments. No person should be higher than government. No person, no parastatal should be higher. There must be sanctions.
There are people who blatantly refuse to even give the information in the first instance. And it is not okay for public service agencies to start litigation against themselves over something that can easily be done, because the money they are using to pay belongs to government.
Mr. Egbule says with a staff strength of about 200, the agency has been able to save over 400 billion naira from checks and balances in various ministries, departments and agencies. Adebola, Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And there seems to be no end to the controversy on the validity of JAMB results currently before the House of Representatives. Chairman Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund says, as an issue of legislation, JAMB has no choice than to key in. Franca Uzoma Olua reports that this was when committee members visited JAMB headquarters and oversight function.
The inability of students to gain admissions into tertiary education institutions had generated debate among lawmakers on the need to validate JAMB results for 3 years, though opinions are still divided.
If that is the law, we must implement, but it will be very, very difficult to implement. Number one, students who score 205, who wants to read medicine, even if he waits for 10 years, he cannot, with 205, succeed medicine. He will want to take another examination next year, and you have said it's bad from 3 years. So the boy will not listen to you. He would rather go and change his name.
Where are we with regards to admission? Because for me, I think people are confused. I don't know whether JAMB is still processing and releasing results, or is now left to the individual universities without JAMB's input.
After studying JAMB's operations as they relate to examinations and admissions, Chairman Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund sums up their visit this way.
We are operating a democracy. You don't get things the way you want, all right? You might have your view, okay? But once the majority has reached a decision as what it wants, you have to go by it.
The committee members were, however, not impressed with the present structure where JAMB operates from due to inadequate funding.
As partners in progress, members of the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund have promised to support JAMB with the 2017 budget to enable the board overcome its current challenges of funding and lack of befitting office headquarters. Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
And still on education, librarians in the country have been told to reinvent themselves for improved service delivery to key into the modern digital information dissemination. This was at the induction of certified librarians organized by the Librarian Registration Council of Nigeria in Abuja. Abdullahi Suleja completes the report.
Librarians play a pivotal role in the education and information development of the society as custodians of written education and information materials. Like any other profession, the librarians are being guided in their practice by laws after being certified. At the ceremony, 354 custodians of the library have been certified and inducted before the Director Education Services, Mrs. Justina Ibe. In a keynote address, immediate past ambassador of Nigeria to Poland, Sam Jimba, challenged the librarians to strive to catch up with the developed societies.
Librarians must reinvent themselves through the electronic platform, through the internet, in offering their services. If they do that, they will remain relevant.
To go back and renew their strategy, talents in developing libraries, giving the people the relevant service needed.
We should try
with our senior colleagues, give information out. We should not spoil the information.
I'm just with joy, rejoicing, because I'm now a certified librarian.
I feel there are some things we need to learn, like know how to navigate the internet very well and know how to blend it in with librarianship.
The inductees bring to 5,025 certified librarians in the country. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
And still on the American election, global reactions trailed the declaration of Republican candidate Donald Trump as elected 45th President of the United States, just as he pledges to be president for all Americans. These and more on Global Tidbits with Runke Kolawole.
Despite vigorous campaign by Hillary Clinton and her fellow Democrats, the 70-year-old Donald Trump defeated her in a stunning victory, causing major upset in key battleground states of Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Trump's journey to the White House has further been strengthened, as he has already won more than the needed 270 out of the 538 electoral votes, while his major rival Hillary Clinton has already conceded defeat and congratulated him in a phone call. Many world leaders, including the UK Prime Minister Theresa May, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and other African leaders and the European Union chiefs have pledged to build on existing relations with the United States in a more cordial manner. Meanwhile, South Africa has expressed fears that Donald Trump's presidency may cause extra 15% import tariff on goods landing in the U.S., which an expert says will negate a 100-year agreement of 20% tariff, raising it to 35%. Also, Ian Omar has made history by becoming the first Somali-born female legislator in the United States. Her victory is significant in Minnesota, where Somalis are largely the residents. For Global Tidbits, Ronke Kolawole, NTA News.
Thanks, Ronke. And it's now time to hand over the baton to Abdullahi in our Lagos Center. Good afternoon to you. You're on.
Good day. Well, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has begun an initiative aimed at implanting core values in young Nigerian children to make them responsible. The contest, tagged Creative Youth Initiative Against Corruption Through Creative Writing Contest, has pupils from various primary and secondary schools in Lagos as participants.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Anti-Corruption Writing Contest is meant to contribute to nation building through creative development with a focus on war against corruption, with primary and secondary schools as the targets. The contest, which showcased the creativity, featured various creative media such as painting, poetry, dance, singing, as well as drama, information technology, and invention. The participants wrote essays on the topic, "My New Nigeria, Free from Corruption."
If we want corruption to be eradicated or minimized in our country, we need to be self-satisfied. We need to be satisfied with whatever we have.
The good government, everything will be better. There will be better infrastructure, there will be better schools, the educational system will be good.
Our people obey the authority of Nigeria. Fathers, mothers, and youth, arise and say no to corruption, no to ethnicity. Together we shall make this our father's land great and the most beautiful place to live on earth.
The project's director, Foluke Michael, said the contest is born out of the need to promote responsible citizenship and inculcate national rebirth in the youths.
If we are saying no to corruption for them, they are also learning a skill that by the time they are coming out of school, they are already skillful in one field or the other, and then that will reduce unemployment. Whilst we are using the platform to say no to corruption. So whatever they know how to do best, it's a platform for them to recognize, reject corruption.
The creative writing contest is open to children and youths in primary and secondary schools in Lagos State. All entrants are between the ages of 9 and 14.
Retail shareholders have been urged to take advantage of the huge opportunities offered by the Exchange Trade Fund and invest in a variety of traded stocks. These analysts say guarantees returns at a minimized risk. Exchange-traded fund is a scheme that permits investors to make investments that yield stakes in a variety of products in the market. The scheme was first introduced on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange in 2011 with only 285 million naira. This has grown to about 4 billion naira today. Experts say the success of this scheme and various other investment opportunities makes the stock exchange the most viable investment hub for retail investors.
The potential is huge. I mean, we've only done 6 equity ETFs, 1 commodity ETF, and 1 bond ETF. So there's huge potential for growth in terms of doing sectorial ETFs, doing regional ETFs, doing foreign ETFs.
Sustained partnership with other world-class capital markets also expands the scope of investment opportunities.
If you look at Nigeria 4 years ago and to where it is now, you've seen a significant progress in that. Where MSCI is coming in is to help deepen that index base on the equity index side, and then through that help drive liquidity, interaction, and hopefully drive that pool of investors.
And looking at the most advanced ETF market, which is the US, where the new funds that are new money is going into funds, are actually going more into ETFs than your traditional actively managed funds. It gives you an idea of the growth potential here in Nigeria.
The retail shareholders have the potential to deepen the market and make more funds available to boost the diversification drive. Defense matters now. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has reiterated the commitment of the Nigerian Air Force to tackling terrorism in the country. He said this during a combined counter-terrorism simulation exercise in Lagos. Annie Daniels reports.
Combined simulation exercise, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar says, is in a bid to prevent or counter possible terrorists attacking airports in Nigeria. This exercise at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport had armed troops descending from a helicopter and stage-managed terrorists.
These are highly trained and skilled individuals who have been trained to protect our airports and to make sure that our airports are safe. There are a few gaps which we are going to address, which is why we are even conducting the exercise.
The exercise, codenamed Exercise Thunderbolt, lasted for about an hour, with troops showcasing their readiness to combat terrorists.
We have ambulances there, we had doctors there, we had nurses there, we had everybody there, trying to play out a real situation.
Several passengers could not hold back their fears.
Immediately, we now saw the Air Force men came for the rescue. Later, I now discovered it's a simulation.
It is a very good experience. I really gained a lot.
Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar disclosed that the force has in its kitty modern facilities and personnel to live up to expectation. The Nigerian Air Force says it has various air platforms to tackle terrorists in Nigeria. One of such platforms, it says, include the Alpha Jet and C-17, which have the capability to effectively and smoothly engage the enemy at any time of the day or night. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And that does it from here. This morning is back to Hawa, who has more stories on Nationwide. Hawa, over to you.
Abdullahi, many thanks. And towards reinvigorating the party ahead of the 2019 elections, the People's Democratic Party has inaugurated an enlarged strategy review and inter-party affairs committee to be headed by Professor Jerry Gana. The party's caretaker committee chairman, Senator Ahmed Makarfi, inaugurated it. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Brinin Kudu completes the report.
After months of internal crisis and unsuccessful reconciliation efforts with the Alimadi Sharif faction, the caretaker committee said it has to move ahead. Inaugurating the more than 100 membership committee, Senator Ahmed Makarfi said their assignment is to make contacts, strategize and recommend possible constitutional amendments that will reinvigorate the party.
We must be engaging, we must look at all issues from all parameters, and the ultimate issue is how do we politically, democratically capture power come 2019.
And we shall, by the grace of God, work tirelessly
pray fervently, research thoroughly, consult widely, debate profusely, analyze issues profoundly.
There were messages of solidarity from Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and the Chairman PDP Board of Trustees, Senator Walid Jibril.
So we are the foundation of democracy in Nigeria. And so if we have issues, democracy in Nigeria also have issues.
The Strategy Review and Inter-Party Affairs Committee has 3 months to conclude its assignment. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Birnunkudu, NTA News.
Aba Area Police Command strategizes on fighting corruption. Let's join Bichi in Enugu for these and other stories from that axis. It's good to see you, Bichi.
Proprietor Chinyere Okoye. Paul Okafor is standing trial for allegedly abusing and molesting female students of his school sexually. He was arraigned before the Federal High Court in Enugu in 2015 by the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. At the resumption of trial, the victims took turns to give their own submissions on the method, level, and frequency of his sexual abuse on them. Some of the victims testified that he also carried out this act in his vehicle, but all within the school premises, with threats of death to them if they divulged the information. The defense counsel, OAU Onyema, during cross-examination, said that his client, Paul Okafor, is being framed up by some of his academic staff who were laid off, but the presiding judge, Justice Dubo Oworien, overruled the counsel and urged him to confine his questions to the subject matter. The judge, after listening to the cross-examinations, adjourned the matter to the 24th of January next year for the continuation of trial. The suspect has since been granted bail, having pleaded not guilty to the charges. More witnesses are expected to appear in court on the next adjourned date. From the Federal High Court in Enugu, Chinyere Okoye, NTA News. Cut off from the other eastern parts of the country, including the northern part. This is because the only access road at the popular 9th Mile is almost giving way, thereby threatening the socio-economic life of the people.
Police is a household name in Enugu State, mainly because water used by virtually all residents of the state is sourced from there. Today, plying the Ugu Onyama is a Herculean task, as both sides of the dual carriageway is riddled with potholes.
The road is no good for a long time. Motor is falling. This road looks too bad. We cannot contain it. People have been standing here for past hours.
At the 9th Mile corner end of the road, the long stretch of a section of the road, which is the only one in use, has completely failed, leading to traffic hold ups, as vehicles, majority of which are articulated going to the northern and southern parts of the country, have to contend with the narrow lane, resulting in loss of valuable man hours. However, motorists are beginning to heave a sigh of relief following the commencement of remedial work on the field portion of one side of the dual carriageway at the 9th Mile corner. Although it is a federal highway, the State Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure says they are embarking on the rehabilitation since there is no response from the federal government.
From Cochin up to now, to the roundabout 9 Mile within the internal roads there at the 9th Mile, then up to OP and then Obola and Amala. Those areas, we don't have signs of federal government starting anything at the moment.
It is the hope of road users that rehabilitation work on the field portions of the road be completed before the festivities.
The Nigerian Police Area Command, ABA, in conjunction with the Police Community Relations Committee, has organized a sensitization rally on the need to shun kidnapping and robbery and other heinous crimes in the state. Uchechukwu Onwe has that report.
Up from the Police Area Command, ABA,
attracted police officers in the command, members of the Police Community Relations Committee, and other sister security agencies took the campaign to the nooks and crannies of the metropolis. The police area commander, Abba Peter Wabara, said it is in line with the directive of the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Idris, which is aimed at redefining policing in a democratic environment by ensuring adequate security of lives and property, especially in Abba, noting that community policing is a panacea for effective crime prevention.
We are trying to let the people know that it's better not to commit offense. If everybody will imbibe the message, we are sure this Xmas period up to New Year will be relatively crime-free for the residents of Aba.
While commending the efforts of the Nigerian police in fighting crime, the state chairman of the Police Community Relations Committee, Imam Wosu, and the Central Police Station chapter chairman, James Uzoma, said there is need to bridge the gap between the police and the citizen if the war against crime must be achieved. In Aba, Uchechukwu Owe, NTA News.
How are we done here in Enugu? It's back to you for the continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks. You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. And it's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We pause for some messages now. The news continues shortly.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok schoolgirl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers, experience catering beyond the horizon.
On a white sheet of exam paper, I am calm like a sniper, bam like a piper, glam like a rapper. I'm never a slacker.
Fail like a failure.
How was your result?
This wicked girls here was gave me.
Then give me.
They gave me 7 E's.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Yomi Fashlanso, Stephen Odingbe.
Address me as the Ono. My title is waiting for me.
Oh no, we're waiting.
Ono.
Mr. Owowu.
Mbano, I can't take that.
Olowu.
Hey, I don't like all this.
What is that name they call you all over the campus?
Flashbird with a big splash, depending on how you want to lash.
Big name that kills a small dog.
Professor John Bull, fasten your seatbelts this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and out.
Welcome to the new speed of life. Our latest edition of TV Guide is out. This edition of your favorite magazine will simply blow your mind.
The package is loaded, and our offering is quite illuminating. NTA has a new Director General, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, a tested and trusted professional, an old wine that keeps getting better with age. This is the new switch over train. Get to know him more in TV Guide. And now, on our cover is one of Nigeria's finest comic actors, Afiz Oyetoro, aka Saka. Peep into his world and you will see how he is putting from glory to glory. The change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, we did an assessment so far. All our refreshing columns and incisive features are a collector's item and research materials. TV Guide, available on your newsstands and in all NTA stations nationwide. Also in our embassies in United Kingdom, USA, China, Ghana and Egypt. TV Guide, grab a copy and give one to a friend. TV Guide, still your indispensable companion.
Do you know that importing consumables and domestic products kill local manufacturing and negatively affect the growth of the economy? That some imported products are dangerous to your health? That building factories can generate massive employment and grow the economy? Buying locally made products and services means investing back in the economy. Thousands of Nigerians are innovative and can take Nigeria to the next level. Growing the economy starts with you and I. Raise the standard. Grow the economy. Buy made in Nigeria.
Thanks for rejoining us on Nationwide. The deployment of space technology to enhance contributions from other sectors of the economy, such as agriculture, communication, security and environment, was canvassed at the 6th National Conference of Space Engineering Division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Science correspondent Kirian Umeayo reports that members considered space technology a veritable tool for economic diversification.
The thrust of the conference is anchored on the fact that as a nation in satellite business, there is need to develop a model driven by satellite technology through research, rigorous education, engineering design and manufacturing. National Chairman, Space Engineering Division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Yusufu Mshelia, remarked that development of different segments of space technology is key to growth and advancement in satellite industry.
These days, satellite technology is not only about launching satellites. We can also use the vast amount of satellites we have already in orbit by other nations.
The space technology value chain involves everybody: government, industry, the military. So for it to develop, that means these three organs must work in harmony.
President, Nigerian Society of Engineers, Otis Oliver Anyeji, raised the issue of underutilization of the nation's space resources, wondering why the preference for foreign services that can be provided in Nigeria.
That preference to spend dollars rather than naira has stood between us and the utilization of the technological resources we have ready for many years now in the field of space engineering.
The emerging roles of space technology in a fast-developing economy like Nigeria, experts believe, cannot be overemphasized. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
And Charles in Makurdi has the next set of reports on our lineup. You're on, Charles.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Makurdi. The Nigerian Legion in Benue and some neighboring states have taken measures to bring succor to the family of its members, especially widows and children of fallen heroes. This was at an event in Makurdi, the Benue state capital. Elias Itiaf reports.
The plight of these senior citizens of Nigeria who have at one point in time or the other staked their lives for the general good of the nation is one that evokes memories of empathy, particularly considering their standard of living. Equally of concern is the hardship in which wives and children of fallen heroes are made to grapple with. It is to bring succor to such families that the Nigerian Legion introduced programs such as the Humanitarian Day to empower legionaries and family members. National Chairman Nigerian Legion, Mika Gaya, and his Benue State counterpart, Cletus Ankar, while presenting cash gifts and food items of assorted types to beneficiaries, called for more support for retired soldiers and families as a mark of appreciating their contributions to the survival of the nation.
It goes without saying, when a man passes on, naturally the whole lot rests on the wife.
Benue State Governor, represented by a director in the Bureau of Internal Affairs and Special Duties, Mrs. Ivieren Tefa, representative of the Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, and those of security organizations who shared in the plight of legionaries, promised continuous support to the organization. The National Humanitarian Day celebration in Makurdi was also attended by a delegation from Kogi, Nasarawa, Plateau, and Cross River states. In Makurdi, Elias, Itiaf, NTA News.
The Red Cross, as a humanitarian organization, rapid and effective interventions so as to help reduce pain and improve the chances of survival of victims of disaster. It is in this light that it has organized a training program for members of the public in first aid and emergency rescue. Here again is Elias Itiab.
The increase in human activities as a result of end-of-year festivities, the Red Cross is bracing up to the possible challenge which has necessitated training on standard safety, first aid, and emergency rescue put in place for participants in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Chairman, Nigerian Red Cross, Benue State, Victor Achegbolu, and Branch Executive Secretary, Abba Agbo, who appreciated government support to the organization, called for assistance in the area of provision of operational vehicles for better services.
It is a tool for the work which is to be used in the interest of Benue people and for government itself.
Earlier in an opening address, Special Advisor, Bureau of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Titus Zam, said the training can only be useful if participants to members of the public. Some participants applauded the importance of the training, particularly the practical skills acquired as exhibited by the drama piece. The 3-day training draws participants from both public and private organizations within the state.
That report on the Red Cross rounds off our contribution from Makurdi. Hawa, it is back to you.
Many thanks, Charles. And moving to other matters now, in complementing efforts of the Nigerian Navy as regards welfare of its personnel and wards, the Naval Officers' Wives Association has built staff quarters and classrooms at the NOAA Educational Center, Karshi, Abuja. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Abayomi Olonishaki, who inaugurated the project, described the initiative as encouraging.
Since its inception in November 1965, NOAA, aside its mandate to promote love and cooperation among naval officers' wives and their families, has been supporting the Nigerian Navy on social infrastructure within naval units. The projects executed here comprise a 3-bedroom bungalow for the commandant, 10 numbers 1-bedroom flat for the teaching staff, 10 classrooms, language and biology laboratories. Chief of Defense Staff General Gabriel Olonishaki presided.
It is gratifying to note that these programs and activities have continually impacted positively on the well-being of personnel families. This immediate accomplishment for which we assemble here eloquently underscores the determination of the current leadership of NOAA not to rest on its house, but to widen gradually the scope of its services to its beneficiaries.
The conception of this project was born out of the need to address the increasingly acute accommodation and space problem the school was facing.
The center is one of many institutions established by the association to cater for educational needs of children and wards of service personnel and the civilian community around the barracks. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
And still on military relations, the Nigerian military has commended the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, for support to its formations in the fight against insurgency, appreciating its efforts at keeping the country one through balanced and objective charge. Acting Director Defense Information, Brigadier General Rabe Abubakar gave the commendation when he visited the NTA Maiduguri Zonal Network Center as part of its tour of media organizations in the country.
The tour of media establishments in the country by the Acting Director Defense Information is to rub mind and seek understanding of media operatives in promoting issues of national interest and security in their reportage with the aim of projecting the image of the country in positive light. He frowned at the situation where some sections of the media tend to promote sensationalism and parochial interest at the detriment of the corporate existence of the country. Brigadier General Abubakar remarked that the media has a role to play in changing the negative perception of the country and its people, hence the need to report with high sense of responsibility. He disclosed that the military is currently engaged in 17 different security operations and assured that it will continue to do its best to rid the country of terrorist activities, stressing that the Boko Haram menace will soon be brought under control.
Reporting positively on military and other security agencies' activities and operations is extremely germane, especially in the current security challenges that the country is going through. And we believe that media is one of the strongest key stakeholders that could serve as a vehicle to mitigating crisis.
The NTA Zonal Director Sani Yaro Bashir assured the military of NTA's continued support and collaboration through quality programs and reportage to its teeming viewers. He commended the Nigerian Army in supporting NTA and reiterated NTA's determination in ensuring peace prevails at all times.
The NTA considers itself as one with the military in terms of ensuring that this country remains one.
Alhaji Sani Yaro Bashir also condoled the Nigerian Army over the loss of its officers, including late Lieutenant Colonel Mohammed Abu Ali. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
An overview of President Buhari's visit to Benin in Edo State. Details with Ogochukuka in our Benin Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Hawa. Thanks for joining us in Benin. Residents of Edo State are still basking in the euphoria of the just concluded visit by President Muhammadu Buhari. Frank Okonofa brings us the feeling of the chief host and other respondents.
What is in a visit, you may say, but to Governor Adams Oshomole, the presidential visit was an icing on the cake as he bows out of Government House in a few days.
I'm winding up, and it's like the president came to expect some of our flagship projects, to see for himself some of the things we have accomplished over the past 8 years. And it's not every governor that has such privilege. So the timing could have been better.
To the governor-elect and other respondents, infrastructural development remains strong point of the outgoing administration.
For over the last 24 hours, it's been, he's just given very good pass marks across all areas that we worked on.
There's nothing as exciting as, putting your hard work and allowing a person like Mr. President to come and say thank you for a good job that he has done for our party.
President Muhammadu Buhari, at every point during the two-day visit, commended Governor for contributing to national development. In Benin, Frank Okonofa, NTA News.
The National Emergency Management Agency has donated food items to internally displaced persons in Uhogwa, Benin, Edo State. The Director, Relief and Rehabilitation, Fagbemi Kayode, who represented the Director General, said government will strive to improve the living condition of internally displaced persons. Lawrence Okoje has the details.
The resettlement and welfare of the internally displaced persons has been an issue of public concern since the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast, presenting various items to the IDP camp, which include exercise books, mathematical sets, bathing soap and clothes. The Director, Relief and Rehabilitation, NEMAN, Mr. Fagbemin Kayode, told the people that government will continue to support them in order for them to have a sense of belonging.
In camp, you need a lot of sectors. You need what you call WASH, water, sanitation and hygiene sector. So you need the protection, and you need there are other sector, nutrition. So the person coming or the people coming will be able to support them and guide them. And I know there will be more support.
The coordinator of the IDP camp, Pastor Solomon Folushon, commended the agency for its gesture and promised judicious use of the items.
Thank you for your time, talent, and treasure towards us. We ask God to bless you.
The Director, Neman, also told the IDP camp that plans are underway to open an office in Benin City to enable the agency give them maximum support. In Benin, Lawrence Okoje, NTA News.
Officials of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Edo State, have impounded a truckload of cannabis, popularly known as Indian hemp, at Uzeba in Owan local government area of Edo State. Again, Lawrence Okoje reports.
Briefing journalists in Benin about the seizure of the illicit Indian hemp, the state commandant, Buba Wakawa, said the parcels and bags of the illicit cannabis inside the truck were cleverly concealed with bags of cement and sand. He said with careful intelligence investigation and useful information by men of the NDLA, they were able to raid the area.
At around 1 in the night, we received an intelligence that some group of people are loading cannabis sativa in a forest in Uzeba area. So we mobilized our officers. They went for the operation. But because of the nature of the terrain, which is in the forest, the vehicle, they sighted the light of the vehicles coming, so they escaped.
The state commandant said, though the suspects are at large, proper investigation is ongoing to bring the perpetrators to book. He urged the officers to intensify efforts at eradicating cannabis cultivation. In Benin, Lawrence Okoje, NTA News.
It's back to Awa now for the concluding part of the news. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Ogochukwu. And a report just in says, on behalf of the government and people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari congratulates President-elect Donald Trump on his victory in the United States presidential election. President Buhari also congratulates American citizens on the outcome of the election, which was keenly observed by all true lovers of democracy and those who live in the will of the people. The president looks forward to working together with President-elect Trump to strengthen the already established friendly relations between both countries, including cooperation on many shared foreign policy priorities, such as the fight against terrorism, peace and security, economic democracy and good governance. As Mr. Trump prepares to assume the position of the President of the United States, President Buhari extends his good wishes to him on the onerous task of leading the world's strongest economy. This is signed by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. Sports now. Nigerians are optimistic of Super Eagles' victory over the Phoenix of Algeria this weekend as Stanning announces retirement from rowing. Amanzi Marcus completes the report.
All the 23 invited Super Eagles players on Wednesday morning trained at the practice pitch of the Abuja National Stadium ahead of the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Algeria on Saturday in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Nigerians are optimistic of another victory.
I predict the match 3-1 in favor of Nigeria. Super Eagles, yeah.
We don't expect anything less than winning, by the grace of God. I can give Nigeria 3-1 at least.
Because the way they are playing, I'm sure they are going to win this match. Yeah, very sure. 3-0. But
by the special grace of God, Algeria can never beat Nigeria. We need to win this match.
The training is quite interesting. At least I can see their performance is quite encouraging, most especially the keepers.
Arrangements have been concluded for the inaugural Nigeria Golf Masters, scheduled to hold from 17th to 20th November at the IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja. The Nigerian Masters, which is set to be an annual feature in the West Africa golf calendar, will attract players from different African countries.
Within Africa, except South Africa, we are the next country that have been able to come up with a tour. And if we have events regularly, it will show that we are serious. And that's why we're trying to make sure there's events every month.
Meanwhile,